Hello dear one, Carolina here. I want to talk to you in this video about the call of the soul. And I suppose you have heard the expression, I received the call of the soul. And I thought it was that romantic and beautiful and elegant back in my time. But you know what? It was not that romantic at all for me, the call of the soul. And I want to talk to you in this video about 3 very surprising signs of the call of the soul that I was not really aware of. And you know what? I really wish someone had told me. But here in this video, I'm going to share that with you. And the purpose of the video is that you can discover what those 3 signs are, how they are linked to the call of the soul. I'm going to share also the subtle dynamic that anyone can fall into when we observe these signs, and it doesn't allow us to keep moving forward to the soul connection, but I suppose it keeps us stuck in the process. And a third thing I'm going to share with you, it's a powerful strategy that you can apply right away to make sure you don't get stuck and you get really, take that call of the soul and get into that process of soul alignment. So by the end of the video, you will be able to assess if you have experienced these signs, if you have been ignoring them, what to avoid and what to do. So let's start with number 1. Number 1 is called loss of meaning, or I call it the void. And this sign is when all of a sudden you lose pleasure or interest in things that you used to enjoy in the past. And this loss of meaning, it starts slowly and it grows very slowly, in like a snowball, but it starts to touch every part of your life in different areas. So to give you an example, to share a little bit of my story and how it was for me. So, for example, my corporate job. Back in the time when I was in the corporate and I started, I really adore my job of corporate, and I love the environment and I love my career, and I was so engaged and I wanted to have this momentum and raise the ladder and this and that. And there was a point where I really started to feel disconnected from all those things in the corporate world. And it grew up bit by bit to the point that I just didn't care about it anymore. I was not really interested in listening to pretty much anything. I didn't care about titles or promotions or KPIs or nothing of that. And just thinking that I need to cope with another year performance review, it made me nauseous. And it was really growing very intense in my body, in my mind, and in my spirit. I was just simply not connected at all. I lost meaning for that area of my life. And you know what? I thought it was just the job. So I did, I just changed the job and it's going to be okay, which I did. But it was not okay, because then it kept moving into other areas of my life. Like, for example, in the past, I loved a lot of fashion and shoes and makeup, and I was so invested in that, and I invested money and time in that. All of a sudden, I see myself returning things to the shelf, or just simply not wanting to buy those things anymore, and seeing those physical things and how meaningless it was for me back in the time. So it's a very deep feeling and sensation inside of you that you start to feel like things are just not important anymore, just they're not interesting to you anymore. And that includes relationship, includes sports, maybe habits that you had in the past. So in essence, is this loss of meaning that happens slowly along your life in different areas. Now, you might be wondering, well, how is that related to the soul call? Well, this is my learning. After I experienced all that, I realized that this void that you feel internally as you lost meaning, it has a purpose. It has really a purpose. And the purpose is to stop for me, it was to stop focusing on the outside world, on the physical things, on the job, on the clothes, on the makeup, on all these physical things, and start to move my attention inwards to my heart. Because at the end of the day, the call of the soul is an alignment that you create within you with your essence. So it's all about really going inwards. The connection happens inside. It doesn't happen outside. So the loss of meaning is, the purpose is for us to stop being distracted with the external world and start to go in and pay attention to what's happening inside. And the objective of all this loss of meaning is to question everything in your life. Everything, those patterns, what are you doing, and redefine what really is important for you at this point in time. Remember the three purposes that we have. So understand why is linked this sign of loss of meaning, why is linked to the call of the soul. But also, I'm going to talk about now the subtle dynamic that we can fall into that keeps us stuck. And for this particular sign, the loss of meaning or the void, the dynamic that keeps us stuck is called compensation. Compensation. So what happens is that every time there is a loss of meaning in one part of our life, we immediately compensate with something new. Something new that fills that void right away without doing the inner work. And that's where the trap is. So the dynamic is losing meaning, compensating with something, losing meaning, compensating with something. And back in my time, I remember I thought it was the job, so I changed the job. I thought it was because I'm not interested in clothes anymore, so I switched to shoes or purses or something else. It was all the time replacing about something. So in big picture, it could be this dynamic of starting new things all the time, or changing job, changing home, buying a new car, enrolling in a new class, searching for another certificate. You know, as soon as you immediately embark into something new, or the business owners, for example, they buy another business, they start a new line of product. It's all the time these rapidly decisions of something new to try to compensate and bring again the sense of meaning and feel like we're normal. And we can roll in that dynamic a lot of time, years actually, instead of actually taking a step back and doing the inner work to understand why is this loss of meaning raising, and all the questions that come with it. Because when there is a loss of meaning that is happening, there is a lot of questioning that is raising in our heads. And it's not simple question, it's deep existential questions like, why am I here on earth? What is my purpose? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I in this career? And you know, it's very, very, very profound questions. So all this questioning goes up, and we're suppressing that. You know, the subtle dynamic is to suppress that and compensate immediately, because I didn't want to hear those questions. It was too painful to listen back in the time. Because this is the thing, I felt back then that I was already too invested in my profession or in the frame of life that I already create. So it's aggressing all that frame that I already created for myself. So when those questions raise up, you don't want to deal with that. So me, I was like, oh, no, I don't want to hear, and compensate immediately with something. And the danger of this subtle dynamic is that because it's something new, we're compensating with something new, it brings a little bit of a rush of happiness or excitement because of the novelty, and we're invested in something different. We distract ourselves again, and we go into that new thing. But as soon as the novelty is over, guess what? The loss of meaning starts to appear again, and the void appears even bigger, and the questioning, it's even bigger. And just a little parenthesis here, for the person that experienced the loss of meaning, this is very, very unsettling. It's very painful. We feel a lot of fear and guilt, and it's hard for us to explain to other people what we are seeing or feeling. We cannot convey the message easily, and we feel bad, but we cannot really pinpoint why we feel so bad. And at the same time, we're looking to everything that we have around us, and it feels meaningless. So it's really, really hard for the person that is living it. So now you know this loss of meaning is a sign. You know how it's related to the call of the soul. You know the subtle dynamic that could be a really profound trap that keeps us track, compensating. I'm going to talk to you now about a powerful strategy in place that you can use. Instead of compensating, this is the powerful strategy. Acceptation. Accept to be in the void. Stop compensating and take a step back and accept to leave into that very uncomfortable space. Take your time to go inwards and empty your cup. Because at the end of the day, it's all about that. It's about questioning to empty your cup and raise with a new set of mindset that works for you, that is meaningful for you at this time. So give yourself time to be with you. Remember, the call of the soul is a party of two. You and your soul. No one else is invited. So it's for you to align with the real essence that is inside of you. And a third point in this powerful strategy is acceptation of the void. Take the time for yourself and grab a notebook, grab a pen, and answer those very deep, profound questions. Because in those answers lies the very alignment that you're looking for, the very bridge between your physical life or your reality today and what your soul is all about. And is that merge that is going to bring the meaning again. You understand? So this is the powerful strategy. Sign number 2 is called carrying frustration, or, I'm going to borrow a term of the movie Soul, lost soul. And this sign is when in the obsession of keeping rolling life as usual in the direction that you already have, you forget who you are at your essence and you become a persona that you're not. So in my case, for example, with my story, I used to be lighthearted, funny, adventurous, spontaneous, but when this void came, it all vanished away. I became a person more serious and irritable. Because I feel frustrated, I found myself complaining pretty much about everything, and I was serious and irritable and reactive and always with the front face, stressed and angry all the time. Those became my moods. So I kind of flip from being this light-hearted, funny person to a angry, serious, stressful persona that is not me at all. But this flip, it doesn't really happen. Carrying frustration, it doesn't happen one day to another. It happens because with the time of not listening to sign number 1 and not dealing with it, we keep suppressing and compensating. And the thing is that we keep doing things that are not important to us, and then this frustration starts to build up, and it builds very slowly and almost insidiously. So you don't really know when you really change. It just starts to install in yourself, and you become this kind of persona. And I was not really aware of how stressed, angry, and an irritable person I became until I did all my inner work and went back to my lighthearted, funny, spontaneous person again. But that's the risk. We lose the essence, the original attributes of who we were, and we become this, like in the movie The Soul. Remember this character, purple character, there's like a big monster, full of angriness and frustration and negativity and all this stuff, because I was covered with all that when I was living this frustration, because I was not doing my job on the first sign. When I was feeling the loss of meaning, I didn't did my inner work. I ignored the sign. So it keeps raising up. Let's talk about why is this sign related to the call of the soul. And it's related in the following manner. The frustration is a sign. It's a sign to show you or to point you out that you are in misalignment with the soul. So if the first sign didn't work, losing meaning, for you to sit down and question your life, it didn't work, then there is a strong emotion like frustration that is heavy, is strong, is deep, to create noise inside of you, to point you out that there is misalignment between you and your soul. In simple words, whatever you're doing here is not what you really want to do. You're doing something, but you really want to do something, and there's two different places. So you are in misalignment. There is a gap, there is a dissonance in the middle, and you can feel it. You can feel the emptiness added, and you keep added to the loss of meaning, right? So the frustration is there to create enough emotion for you to stop and say, whoa, why am I doing what I'm doing? That's the reason why it is related to the call of the soul. Now, let's talk about point number 2, the subtle dynamic that is related to this second sign carrying frustration. And the dynamic that we can fall into that keeps us stuck is that we blame the frustration on the current situation that we're living. So then the way we express it sometimes is to justify the frustration for whatever we're living in that current moment. So let's suppose I'm doing a very special project and it's very stressful. Then I'm going to say, well, I'm frustrated because of this project is very stressful. It is because of the new boss. It is because of the newborn. It is because of the new country, the new house. 1,000 situations could be possible. But in fact, what is important to understand is that the dynamic is about blaming or justifying the frustration with the situation and an external situation, not understanding that it comes from an inner misalignment, right? And the danger of all this subtle dynamic is the hope that we put at the end. So we said at the end of the temporary situation, everything is going to be okay. So we tend to think, okay, at the end of this project, I'm going to go back to normal and I'm going to feel happy and okay. But right now, I'm stressed and it's a very stressful project. And the hope is that at the end of the temporary situation, everything is going to be okay. And it never is, because that's not the reason. So by the end of that situation, we're still frustrated. So soon enough, we find another reason why you keep being frustrated. And we keep rolling this little ball over and over and over. So that's the subtle dynamic that can keep us stuck for a lot of time there. Now let's look to the powerful strategy. So now this sign of carrying frustration and shifting from my soul characteristics to a very stressful persona, that is this sign. We already know how it's linked to the call of the soul. You know the subtle dynamic of blaming the frustration on the current situation. And now we're going to see the powerful strategy. So this is the strategy. Now you know that the frustration is about soul misalignment. You know that you're doing something that you do not really want to do. So when the frustration arrives, when you're doing something and the frustrations comes up, this powerful strategy is the following. You ask yourself, what do I want instead? If I'm doing this, what do I want instead? And then follow that. Well, I'm doing this, what do I want instead? And then follow that. Now, don't take this answer as a final destination. Oh my God, that's my sole purpose. No, it doesn't work like that. Because the frustration is there because there is a very big gap. It's a very big gap because we never heard the first sign in the first place, that was the loss of meaning. We haven't done the inner work at that point. So the more we keep distracted and we keep ignoring those things, the more the gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So now there is a huge, it's big like the moon, this gap. So you're not going to just align in one flip and all of a sudden you're aligned. That's not going to happen. It never happens like that. So when you answer the question, what do I want instead? What is leaving you is like breadcrumbs, clues of how are you going to close the gap and go back into that beautiful alignment, into that melding with your essence, into that space of 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 meaning, wholeness, and belonging. Because when the two parts get together, when your earth life, your physical life matches your inner life or your soul, that's when the wholeness comes in, the meaning, the sense that you are living and doing your purpose, that you're becoming that you have become, that you came here to live and express. So following the question is going to close the gap and get you to that center place. Sign number 3 is called the propelling event. Listen, if something could be called the cherry on top of the cake, or better put, the match that blow the bomb, boom, this would be it, the propelling event. This sign is when something happens that is strong enough to derail the train of life. It turns your life upside down. And it could be, for some people, it could be an accident, it could be a death of someone, it could be divorce, it could be sickness, it could be job loss. Just name it. There's an infinite number of possibilities. But in essence, is the tipping point of the soul's call. So let's understand, one of our objectives is to understand how this sign is related to the call of the soul. And this is the relationship. Because we have been experiencing sign number 1, which is the loss of meaning, and we didn't listen to that sign, and we get this routine of compensating. Then we start feeling sign number 2, feeling this intense frustration, but we didn't listen. We start just pretending that everything was okay and just justifying the frustration and just coping and living it with it, creating a new character of a way of living. Then you're still like in a routine. The whole life moves heavy in this same, doing the same things and keeping the plan in the same thing, and life keep moving along because you know what, guys, life does not give us a break. Things keep happening, the children keep growing, the business keep moving, there's year after year it passed, time keep moving along, and we have to keep delivering and creating, and all the social events keep happening. It's like all this keep its momentum. So we didn't listen to those signs. We create kind of a routine. So this propelling event is really to break the routine, boom, to break the routine in a way that you have to listen, that you have to stop, because that's the intention of this propelling event, to propel you to that connection, because you're getting so far apart from your soul that it has to be rearranged, and something has to break the pattern. So boom, the propelling event is there to break the pattern and disrupt your life entirely. And it creates motive and space to question again, to question your life, because it's all about questioning and redefining what is meaningful for you. But remember, sign 1 and 2, we didn't listen. We already create a routine to keep all that suppressed. So year after year passes. So we need to create space and motive to create those questionings, so that the soul, uses this propelling event as a call, like as a final call. That's what sometimes is called the wake-up call. Now, let's talk about the second purpose that we have in this video, and is understanding the subtle dynamic of this sign that can keep us stuck. And the subtle dynamic is the following. Because the propelling event is so strong in kind, is really emotional, because it really turns your life upside down, is painful. It's something that really disrupts your life. So it's emotional, it's big, it's disrupting, it's important. And there's a lot of people that leave this with you. So the big dynamic where we can fall into is the drama of it. We can fall into the drama of the event itself. And we get stuck reliving the drama in our heads over and over and over and over. Even if the drama is over or the event is over, we keep reliving it and reliving it and reliving it, hoping that we can change the past, which we know we can't, but we get stuck into that roulette of living the drama. And all the growth process stops there. It's like it gets diluted into this drama. That's part of one of the subtle dynamics that can happen. And there is another part of the subtle dynamic, and is that as you deal with the aftermath of the event, and because it's so emotional and deep, well, you work with a lot of people around you, you create new bonding, you create new commitments, perhaps there's a new sense of understanding that raises up. So the tendency is to put some solutions in the aftermath of the event, and the subtle dynamic is to believe that those solutions are going to give you meaning or connecting to your soul without doing the inner work. And that could be the dynamic that can have us stuck for many, many years. Because if the solutions are not out of the inner work, but are out of only the aftermath, they are just solving the aftermath, but they're not solving the root cause of the inner misalignment. So then what happens is that once you deal with the aftermath and a new routine gets established in the aftermath of the event, guess what? Again, you start feeling all the symptoms, loss of meaning, the frustration, everything starts to build up all over again because it never solved the issue at the base. So that's the subtle dynamic. Now let's talk about the powerful strategy for this sign, the propelling event. The strategy is the following. It's not complicated, and it's just common sense. Number one, deal with the aftermath of the event. Because like it or not, it's a very strong event. It's changing your life upside down. So like it or not, we have to deal with the aftermath. So we have to put solutions in place that are related to the event. But once the solutions are in place and you find a way to stable everything and go back again into some sort of normal recurrent life, you have to do your inner work. You have to get a step back and do your inner work at any cost. And even if that action of doing the inner work, it doesn't seem to be logical or appropriate or socially accepted after an event like the one you live, it doesn't matter. So it's kind of leaving behind all the criticism that people can exercise over us after those events, like how can he do that after this event? How can she do that after this event? Don't worry about that stuff. You know that until your inner work is not done, nothing that you put in place in the outside world is going to actually bring this alignment and meaning. You have to do your inner work. So there you are. There you have it. We talk about. Let's do a little bit of a recap, okay? We talk about the 3 signs of the call: the loss of meaning, carrying frustration, and the propelling event. We talk about the subtle dynamics of each one that can keep us stuck for a little while. We also talk how all these 3 signs were related to the call of the soul, and you already know 3 powerful strategies to avoid falling into those dynamics and do something towards your inner alignment. Now, before I let you go, I want to share with you one last piece of advice. You can do this inner alignment by yourself. Yes, you can. But you can accelerate the closing of the gap with some help, some support, and with a mentor, where you can start to get momentum in this alignment and find what is really important for you and close this gap. I want to invite you to join an accelerated private mentoring program called Infinity soul connection activation. 6 weeks to activate your soul connection so you can simplify your life, learn how to access your inner guidance anytime, anywhere, and get clear on every area of your life and how to get there, and especially guilt-free. So book your free discovery call now. In the description somewhere in this video, you will find the link. Click the link. It's a free discovery call. You have nothing to lose, but you have a ton to gain. That's my advice. With that being said, I hope this video has left you with a lot of value and techniques and strategies that you can apply right away. Awareness about what you are in relationship to the call of your soul. I hope to see you in the next video or in the next call. We never know. Take care. Carolina.